The galaxy never noticed Earth's junk. Broken satellites, rusting rocket shells, and forgotten space stations drifted around the planet like useless trash. To most alien observers, Earth was a primitive world, barely reaching beyond its own. Moon, too young and too fragile to matter. They believed humans would stay trapped on their small blue planet for centuries more. But they were wrong. Something strange began in the shadows of Earth's orbit. From old wreckage, humans built again. They took scraps of failed missions, broken rockets, even decommissioned war machines, and fused them into something new. The galaxy saw only junk, but humans saw potential. It started with a rumor. Alien traders whispered of giant moving structures orbiting Earth, made of stitched metal and glowing engines. Many laughed, surely it was a lie. But the truth was darker, and far more dangerous. The first of these ships appeared without warning. A massive beast of metal, scarred with burn marks, its hull uneven and ugly. Like a monster built from the graveyard of machines. It looked fragile, but inside, it carried weapons no one expected. It was powered by desperation, creativity, and human stubbornness. The ship's name was Juggernaut. The aliens had seen warships before sleek, polished, forged from crystal alloys and shining metals. But Juggernaut was something different. It was not elegant, not clean. It was brutal. It was built for survival, not for beauty. And when the Juggernaut entered battle for the first time, the galaxy froze. It happened near Titan's orbit. A patrol. Fleet from the Varlek Dominion, a proud alien empire, tried to test Earth's defenses. They thought Earth had none. After all, Earth's surface scanners showed no great fleets, no planetary shields. Just one fragile world. The Varlek fleet sent a message. Surrender your world. You are weak. You are unworthy of the stars. But the response did not come from Earth's leaders. It came from the Juggernaut. The old patched-together ship opened fire. Its cannons roared with modified railguns, its missiles crafted from repurposed nuclear stockpiles. The aliens laughed at first until their ships began to fall. One by one, their shields cracked under relentless fire. The Juggernaut fought like no ship they had ever seen. It didn't dodge, it didn't retreat. It absorbed damage like a beast made of iron. And when parts of its hull tore away, its crew welded plates of enemy wreckage onto the gaps, fighting and repairing at the same time. In less than an hour, the proud Varlek fleet was gone. Only debris remained. The galaxy had expected Earth to beg for mercy. Instead, Earth had answered with a monster born from its own junk. But this was only the beginning. Earth was not rich in resources, not yet strong in industry. But humanity had something the galaxy did not understand. They had a history of survival, of turning weakness into strength. Where others saw trash, humans saw a foundation. Where others gave up, humans rebuilt. From every piece of scrap orbiting Earth, new ships began to rise. Some were small, some gigantic, all forged from things the galaxy would have thrown away. They were ugly, but they worked. And soon, Earth had not one Juggernaut but many. Alien spies reported back to their governments. Their messages were filled. With fear, they build fleets from nothing. They need no perfect alloys, no rare crystals. They turn garbage into war. The Council of Races, the highest galactic authority, gathered in silence as they heard the reports. One elder spoke the fear aloud. If they can do this with junk, what will they do once they have real resources? But the galaxy did not have time to decide. Earth was already moving. For the first time in history, humans launched their fleet beyond their own solar system. Not for exploration, not for diplomacy, because the Varlek Dominion had promised to return with a larger force. Humanity had no choice but to strike first. The Juggernauts led the way. Each ship bore scars from past battles, each one different, a patchwork of victories and survival. They did not march in silence. They roared across the stars, an ugly fleet. That looked like a moving scrapyard. Behind that scrap was something terrifying: human determination. In the darkness of space, alien fleets prepared to face them. Their captains laughed at the sight. A pile of garbage, they said. They didn't laugh for long. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment the galaxy realized Earth was not a weak world. It was a forge of monsters, and from its junkyard, it had built an empire. Of war, the galaxy had ignored Earth. Now, they would never forget it, because humanity had shown its first Juggernaut. And many more were coming. The galaxy expected Earth to fall quickly. After the Varlek Dominion's defeat, alien leaders whispered that humanity had only been lucky. One strange ship, one strange victory could not last. But the Council of Races did not feel safe. They had seen the Juggernaut. They had seen how humans turned broken wreckage into weapons. That was not luck. That was danger. The Varlek Dominion swore revenge. They gathered a fleet of 200 ships, sleek and perfect, forged from the best metals of their empire. Their commanders were proud, their crews well-trained. They believed the ugly Earth ships could never stand against such strength. The invasion began at the edge of the solar system. From the dark between the stars, the Varlek fleet advanced. Their ships burned bright with energy, each one faster and cleaner than anything humanity could build. They did not hide their arrival. They wanted Earth to fear. But Earth was no longer the same world. The Juggernaut had returned home with wreckage. From its first victory, engineers and workers had torn it apart, studied every bolt, and learned. New ships had risen from the scrapyard's patchwork destroyers. Cruisers built from broken satellites, carriers made from the shells of abandoned stations. When the Varlek fleet entered the system, they expected silence. Instead, they found a wall of ships waiting. The alien commander sneered at the sight. The human fleet looked clumsy, like a floating junkyard. Plates of different colors patched their holes. Engines glowed unevenly. Some ships were even missing. Sections that had been replaced with enemy scrap. 2 alien eyes. It looked pathetic. But then the battle began. The Juggernauts charged first. They did not glide with elegance, they thundered forward like beasts of steel. Their weapons opened. Fire in unison. A storm of missiles and railgun fire tearing across the void. The aliens fired back, confident their shields would hold. For a moment, it seemed they would. Human fire slammed against their defenses, sparks of light across the void. The Varlek laughed until their shields flickered. Human weapons were not. Advanced, but they were relentless. Modified nuclear warheads, improvised plasma cannons, even magnetic slingshots, launching chunks of metal at near light speed. The aliens had never seen such brutal creativity. One Varlek cruiser tried to break formation, but a human frigate rammed it head-on. The smaller human ship was torn apart, but the alien cruiser split open, its engines exploding in fire. Humans were willing to trade ship for ship, sacrifice for victory. The Varlek fleet was powerful, but the humans fought like no one else. Inside the Juggernaut, Commander Harris stood at the bridge. His face was lit by red warning lights, his ship shaking. With every hit, status, he shouted. Shields gone. Hull at 40%. Harris gritted his teeth. Then we fight with the hull. Keep firing. The Juggernaut kept moving, even as pieces of its armor tore away. Crew members welded patches mid-battle, sealing cracks with molten metal. Where alien ships would retreat, humans refused to stop. The Varlek commander grew uneasy. This was not how wars were fought. No order, no caution, just raw fury. Then something happened the galaxy would never forget. A human carrier, stitched together from broken orbital stations, opened its bay doors. From inside, dozens of tiny ships launched fighters built from scrap metal, old shuttle parts, even cargo pods armed with stolen weapons. They swarmed the Varlek fleet like angry insects. One by one, alien ships fell. The Varlek tried to regroup. But their formation shattered under the chaos. They're perfect. Ships were strong, but too slow to adapt. The humans fought with madness, with fire, with desperation, and with ideas no alien mind would ever risk. After 6 hours, the battle was over. The proud Varlek fleet of 200 ships was gone. Only 20 limped away into the darkness, broken. and burning, the rest were wreckage. And the humans. They collected the wreckage. As soon as the battle ended, human salvage crews moved in. They cut apart alien ships, hauled pieces back, and began building again before the fires cooled. For every ship humanity lost, 2 more would rise from the ruins. The galaxy watched in silence. News of the battle spread across every world. The words were whispered with fear. They win not by strength, but by turning every defeat into fuel. They fight, they break, they rebuild, and then they return stronger. The Council of Races gathered once more. Their chambers shook with angry voices. If we let them continue, they will outgrow us all, one leader warned. Then crush them now, another replied. But deep down they all knew the truth. Crushing. Earth would not be simple, because even if you destroyed their fleet, even if you burned their world, the humans would rise again. It would take the wreckage of their defeat and build another Juggernaut. And the galaxy was starting to fear that. No one could stop them. The galaxy was no longer laughing. The second Varlek fleet had been destroyed. 200 warships gone. A single world had defeated one of the strongest empires. That had never happened before. Not in all of galactic history. The Council of Races gathered in the Grand Chamber. It was a massive hall, filled with the leaders of 100 species. Some floated in anti-gravity chambers, some crawled on many legs, some sat with folded wings. Their voices echoed across the chamber in fear, anger, and disbelief. They are a primitive world, one shouted. They should not even have left their moon. Then explain how 200 ships were destroyed. Another roared back. The arguments went on. But one truth hung over them all. Humanity had done the impossible. At the center of the chamber, High Speaker Vorash raised his voice. His long, silver body shimmered in the light. We face a question. Do we crush Earth before it grows too strong? Or do we risk something worse? Silence followed. No one wanted to say it, but all of them knew what he meant. If Earth continued to rise, if humans kept turning wreckage into warships, soon no empire would be safe. But there was another fear. If we attack again and fail, whispered one elder, the humans will only grow stronger. They turn every defeat into power. Every ship they lose becomes the seed of 2 more. How do you fight an enemy like that? The chamber grew restless. Some called for immediate war, others for negotiation. But behind every word was fear. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans were already preparing. Factories that once built cars and planes now built war machines. Old shipyards were alive again, glowing with sparks and fire. Civilians worked side by side with soldiers, welding, hammering, programming. It was not just a military, it was a movement. Human leaders broadcast one message to their people. We will not wait for the galaxy to decide our fate. We will build, we will fight. We will survive. And the people answered with action. The Juggernaut, though scarred, still fought. Around it, new juggernauts were rising, each one bigger than the last. Carriers stitched from asteroid mines, cruisers built from abandoned orbital stations, fighters shaped from old cargo pods. Every piece of scrap, every broken weapon, became something new in human hands. The galaxy watched with growing unease. Alien spies reported that Earth's people did not fear death. They expected loss. They expected pain instead of breaking. Them, it fueled them. They are not like us, one spy warned his masters. For them, war is not an end. It is a forge. Every battle makes them sharper. The council met again in secret. High Speaker Vorash spoke softly, almost as if afraid of his own words. Perhaps we should not fight them. Perhaps we should bring them into the council. Offer them alliance before they choose to make enemies of us all. The chamber erupted in outrage. Invite barbarians into our circle. A feathered lord screeched. They will betray us, another hissed. They are too dangerous, too unpredictable. But one voice rose above the chaos. A reptilian general leaned forward, his scales glowing in the chamber light. You are all fools. They already are our enemies. Every hour we delay, they grow stronger. Do you not see? They are spreading like fire through the stars. If we do not crush them now, none of us will survive later. The chamber split. Half wanted war, half wanted peace. But no one could agree on a final choice. And so, while the galaxy argued, Earth continued to prepare. Commander Harris stood aboard the Juggernaut, watching the stars beyond the viewport. The ship was still ugly, still patched together, but it was stronger now, stronger than it had ever been. Round it floated dozens of new ships, each one built from the bones of battles past. "They'll come again," Harris muttered. "When they do, we'll be ready." But Harris did not know the truth. Far beyond Earth, deep in the Council's hidden chambers, a decision was being made. Not all empires agreed, but enough had grown desperate. They would not wait for humanity to rise higher. They would not risk another Varlek. It's a disaster. The Council had ordered something that had not been done in 1,000 years. Every empire, every fleet, every soldier, they would all unite for one single purpose. Not against each other, not against pirates, but against Earth. A storm was coming, and humanity was about to face the entire galaxy. The decision was made in secret. The Council of Races had agreed Earth was too dangerous to be left alone. Not one empire, not two, but all of them together. Fleets that had once fought each other were now united by fear of a single small world. For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy prepared for total war. Hundreds of shipyards burned with activity. Billions of workers labored day and night. Warships were forged not for defense, not for expansion, but for one target only: humanity. The order was simple: eradicate Earth. But Earth did not yet know the scale of what was coming, Commander. Harris and his crew worked tirelessly aboard the Juggernaut. The ship was being rebuilt again, stronger, deadlier. Salvage crews dragged in new wreckage every day, and engineers turned it into weapons. Earth's scrapyards had become its lifeblood. On the surface, humanity was changing. Cities once filled with noise now echoed with the hum of factories. Families gave up their comforts, sending metals, electronics, and old machines to the war effort. Children watched the sky not with wonder, but with determination. Everyone knew the truth. The galaxy would come again. Still, no one imagined how big that storm would be. The first signs came quietly, out on the edges of the solar system. Deep space sensors detected movement. Not a few ships, not a fleet of hundreds, but something far larger. The readings were so massive that at first the scientists thought it was an error, but the error repeated again and again. Thousands of signatures, spreading across the void, moving like a tide. When the report reached Commander Harris, the room fell silent. No one spoke, no one breathed. "How many?" Harris finally asked. The technician's voice shook. "Over 10,000 ships, and more joining every hour." The words hit like a hammer. 10,000 warships, the combined might of the galaxy. For the first time, Harris felt the weight of fear. The Juggernaut was strong, humanity's fleet was growing, but against that, against a storm that size, seemed impossible. Yet surrender was not an option. "They want to burn our world," Harris said coldly. "Then we'll make them bleed for every star they cross." The message spread. Across Earth, for the first time, humanity faced extinction. And instead of despair, the people answered with fire. "We will not bow. We will not break. We will fight." In secret bunkers, new weapons were tested, improvised plasma torpedoes, rail cannons the size of towers, EMP warheads, designed to fry alien systems. None of them were perfect. But perfection did not matter. Humanity had learned that ugly, brutal weapons could win wars. Meanwhile, scouts reported something else. The galactic fleet was not moving fast. They were gathering, consolidating, preparing for one overwhelming strike. They wanted to crush Earth in a single blow, to leave no chance of survival. That gave Earth time. Not much, but enough. In the scrapyards of the Moon, the largest project began. A ship unlike any before, built from the bones of wreckage too massive for others to use. It grew in silence, hidden from enemy spies. The engineers called it Leviathan, bigger than the Juggernaut, bigger than any Earth ship. A monster of steel and fury designed to fight fleets, not single enemies. Its frame stretched for kilometers. Patched together from the remains of 100 alien warships, it was not finished yet. But if it could be completed in time, it might be the only hope. Back in the council chambers, alien leaders watched their fleets assemble. Their confidence returned as they counted the numbers. 10,000 against their few hundred, one hissed. This time, Earth will be ashes. But not everyone was so sure. A quiet voice from the corner spoke. It belonged to an old alien scholar who had studied humanity longer than most. You do not understand them, the scholar whispered. You think numbers will save you? You think overwhelming force will bring victory? But you do not see it. They do not think as we do. To them, every defeat is a weapon. Every loss is a lesson, even if you destroy them. The ruins you leave will rise again. The chamber ignored him. They had already chosen their path, and so the galaxy marched in the darkness of space. 10,000 ships lit their engines. The stars themselves seemed to vanish under the sheer size of the fleet. Worlds trembled, empires watched, and Earth waited. The storm was coming, and humanity stood on the edge of history, preparing for the greatest battle the galaxy had ever seen. The galaxy arrived. From the edge of the solar system, a black wave moved forward. 10,000 ships, engines blazing, weapons ready. Every species that had once considered Earth weak now sailed together, united by fear and fury. On Earth, no. One slept that night. Families watched the sky, factories roared, and ships launched into orbit, each one patched together from broken metal. Old satellites and alien wreckage. The Juggernaut led the fleet, scarred and proud. Around it, dozens of smaller ships formed a chaotic wall of steel. And in the shadows of the moon, the Leviathan waited, still incomplete, but massive enough to strike fear into anyone who saw it. Commander Harris stood on the bridge of the Juggernaut, staring at the sensor screens. 10,000 ships. The number was staggering. Status report, he barked. Enemy fleet is approaching orbit, the lieutenant said. Distance, 6 million kilometers. They're forming battle lines. Harris clenched his fists. Good. Let them form. Let them feel confident. Confidence is dangerous for them. The first shots came without warning. Missiles streaked across the void, striking the outskirts of Earth's defense lines. Some were destroyed, others made contact, exploding with blinding light. The humans had expected this, they had learned. From every previous attack, Juggernaut fired back. Railguns spat fire and metal. Missiles exploded in the enemy ranks. The first wave of alien ships was damaged, but not destroyed. The galaxy's fleet was massive, coordinated, and terrifying. Their weapons tore through space with precision, their shields absorbing hits that would have obliterated human ships before. But the humans were unpredictable. A small frigate, barely visible from Earth, rammed a Varlet cruiser at full speed. Both ships shook violently, debris scattering into space. Another human ship fired a makeshift EMP pulse, frying the shields of 5 enemy ships at once. The galaxy expected order. Humans gave chaos. In orbit, the Leviathan stirred. It had been patched together from alien wreckage, human salvage, and the heaviest metals they could find. Its engines roared, sending vibrations through the fleet. It was not yet complete, but its sheer presence made alien captains hesitate. From the bridge, Commander Harris watched as the alien commanders faltered. They were not used to this, an enemy that did not fear them, that did not follow rules, that turned every weapon into a trap. Brace for impact, Harris shouted. A massive wave of alien warships surged forward. Lasers cut through space, striking human ships, tearing apart some smaller fighters in a flash. The Juggernaut shuddered as explosions rocked its hull, but humans did not retreat. They fought back with everything they had. Missiles, railguns, torpedoes, even chunks of debris flung at light speed. Every human ship was a moving trap. every scrap of metal a weapon. The battle stretched across millions of kilometers. It was chaos, beauty, and horror all at once. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Ships collided, exploded, and reformed in new configurations. Human ingenuity met alien perfection in a violent dance of death. Then the unexpected happened. The Leviathan, still incomplete, fired its first salvo. A single cannon, forged from alien weapons and human engineering, fired a concentrated blast. That cut through 10 enemy ships at once. The shockwave of energy spread across space, knocking smaller ships off course. Alien commanders stared in disbelief. Harris smiled grimly. They think size matters. Let's show them chaos matters more. Wave after wave of alien ships crashed into the human lines. But humans adapted faster than anyone could imagine. Fighters swarmed capital ships, EMP bursts disabled engines, torpedoes tore open hulls, and every destroyed enemy ship became raw material for new weapons. The galaxy had brought 10,000 ships. Humanity had barely a few hundred, but their creativity, their desperation, their refusal to die made them unstoppable. By the end of the first day, the galaxy realized something terrifying. Earth had not fought for survival, they had fought to dominate, and the Juggernaut, scarred and burning, led the charge. The Leviathan, even incomplete, had proven its power. The alien fleet faltered. Confusion spread. What was supposed to be a massacre had become a fight they could not win. Above Earth, Harris looked out at the stars. 10,000 ships, and still humanity stood. For the first time, the galaxy understood a simple truth. Numbers alone did not win wars. Will, ingenuity, and the courage to fight even when everything seemed lost. That was something the galaxy had never faced before, and this was only the beginning. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. 10,000 warships had come to crush Earth, but now they were losing ground. The Juggernaut led the human fleet with brutal efficiency, and the Leviathan, still unfinished, struck terror into alien captains. Yet even as humans celebrated small victories, Commander Harris knew the battle was far from over. We can't just fight defensively, he told his officers aboard the Juggernaut. They'll regroup. We need to hit them where it hurts. The officers exchanged nervous glances. No human fleet had ever faced this many enemies at once, but Harris's confidence inspired them. Humans had survived worse. They had survived impossible odds before, and they would survive again. Prepare the secret weapon, Harris ordered. On the moon, engineers were finishing the final assembly of a device no one had ever seen before. It was enormous, powered by stolen alien technology and human ingenuity, a fusion of science, scrap, and raw ambition. The galaxy would call it unimaginably weapon built from junk, yet capable of changing the course of war. The device was loaded onto the Leviathan. It hummed with energy, glowing faintly in the dark. Engineers ran the final checks, sweat dripping from their faces. Hands moving faster than eyes could follow. Ready, they reported. Harris nodded. Then we fire when the time comes. Meanwhile, the alien fleet tried to regain control. Hundreds of ships formed tight formations, lasers blazing, missiles arcing through space. Their leaders were furious. A planet that should have been destroyed was not only alive, it was fighting back smarter, faster, and harder than ever. Hold formation, the Varlek admiral screamed. It cannot hold forever. But Harris had no intention of holding. He wanted chaos, and he wanted it now. The Leviathan moved into position. Its massive form cut through space like a shadow. From the Juggernaut's bridge, Harris watched as alien ships swarmed toward it, confident of victory. Fire, Harris shouted. A pulse of energy erupted from the Leviathan. It was not a simple blast, it was a chain reaction of explosions. Electromagnetic bursts and kinetic strikes all at once. Alien ships were thrown off course, their shields failing in waves. Smaller ships were shredded instantly. Capital ships disabled by cascading energy surges. The galaxy's fleet roared in confusion. They had never faced anything like this. Their tactics, their formations, their numbers all useless against a weapon built from scraps, ingenuity, and human determination. Harris smiled grimly. Keep pushing. Every scrap counts. Human fighters swarmed into the gaps, ramming, shooting, and hacking alien ships. The Juggernaut fired relentlessly, absorbing damage and giving back twice as much. The Leviathan, even incomplete, cut a path through the fleet, leaving destruction in its wake. By the end of the first hour, the alien fleet was in chaos. 10,000 ships had been reduced to confusion, fire, and retreat. What had been expected as a slaughter had become a disaster for the galaxy. High Speaker Vorash watched reports from the council chamber, his body shaking with fear. They have turned our weapons against us, he whispered. A younger member of the council spoke, voice trembling. It is impossible, One World. How can they fight like this? Vorash's eyes narrowed. They are not like us. They never were. Back on Earth, the people cheered. Factories worked faster, civilians sent more scrap, engineers welded faster than ever. Every destroyed alien ship became raw material. Every new weapon became stronger. Every failure was a lesson. Harris looked out at the stars. The galaxy had come with its greatest fleets. It thought numbers would win. But humans had shown something far stronger: creativity, courage, and the refusal to be broken. And yet, Harris knew the fight was not over. The council would regroup. More fleets would come. The galaxy would not accept defeat easily. But humanity had shown a simple truth. You could bring 10,000 ships against Earth. You could bring every weapon the galaxy had ever made. But Earth would rise, and from junk, humans could build anything. The Leviathan pulsed in the distance, a reminder that humanity was only beginning. The Juggernaut floated nearby, scarred, proud, unstoppable. The galaxy had learned its first lesson. The next lessons would be far more brutal, and humanity was ready. The galaxy had never seen anything like this. 10,000 ships had come to destroy Earth. They had expected an easy victory, a massacre in a world crushed under their fleets. Instead, they found chaos, ingenuity, and destruction the likes of which no one could have imagined. The Leviathan pulsed in orbit, its massive weapons humming. The Juggernaut led the human fleet with brutal precision. Hundreds of patched-together ships, fighters built from cargo pods and old satellites swarmed. Across the battlefield, every scrap of metal, every broken weapon, every piece of human determination was turned into a weapon of war. Commander Harris stood on the bridge of the Juggernaut, staring at the alien fleets. Smoke and debris floated across the void, and yet the enemy still pressed forward. He clenched his fists. "They're not done," he muttered. "Then neither are we." From the shadows of the asteroid belt, a new human fleet appeared. Not small, not improvised. Ships that had been built in secret, massive cruisers patched together from alien wreckage, each carrying weapons the galaxy had never seen. The humans had one final trick. Harris turned to his officers. "Ow, we end this." Launched the Juggernaut's full salvo and the Leviathan's final weapon. On the Leviathan, engineers activated the massive device they had worked on in secret. It was no longer just a weapon, it was a statement. A pulse of energy that could disable entire fleets. A chain reaction of destruction powered by human ingenuity and the scrap of 1,000 failed machines. The first wave of alien ships entered range. They fired everything they had. Missiles, lasers, railguns, nothing mattered. The Leviathan's pulse hit, spreading through their formations like wildfire. Ships spun out of control, shields failed, engines overloaded. Entire squadrons of alien vessels were torn apart before they even realized what had happened. The galaxy's commanders panicked. 10,000 ships were being destroyed faster than they could react. Chaos spread across their fleets. Then Harris gave the final order. "Boarding teams, take what remains." Human fighters launched in waves, boarding and capturing alien vessels. Systems were hacked, weapons turned against their former owners, and within hours the galaxy's massive fleet was broken. Only a few thousand ships escaped, limping back to warn their leaders. High Speaker Vorash watched in horror. Possible, he whispered. One world has defeated us all. Back on Earth, celebrations began. Not because humans had killed millions, but because they had survived. Every scrap of metal, every broken piece of junk, had become a part of the greatest fleet the galaxy had ever faced. Humanity had not just defended their world, they had built a legacy from trash. Determination and courage. Harris looked out. At the stars, this is just the beginning, he said. They will come back, they always do. But next time, they'll know. Earth doesn't just fight. Earth wins. The galaxy would never forget this day. Stories spread across systems. Entire civilizations whispered in fear of the humans who could turn junk into juggernauts, defeat entire fleets, and survive impossible odds. The Council of Races met again, but now in fear and silence. They had learned a lesson the hard way. Power and numbers meant nothing against a species that refused to die, refused to surrender, and refused to be broken. On Earth, engineers began new projects. Salvage crews scoured the stars for wreckage. Humans knew that peace would be temporary. The galaxy would come again. But Earth had already proven one simple truth. Humanity could take nothing and make it everything, and from the junk of old missions. Broken satellites and failed experiments, humans had built not just ships, not just weapons, but legends. The Juggernaut drifted silently in orbit, battered but undefeated. The Leviathan, a monster of scrap and genius, pulsed faintly as engineers prepared it for the next battle. Commander Harris looked at his crew, his people, his planet. They thought they could crush us. They thought we were weak. They thought wrong. Always wrong. And with that, humanity turned back to the stars. The galaxy waited for the next war. But it would be wise to remember one thing. The humans of Earth did not just fight, they conquered, and they built their empire from junk.